Welcome to The Check-In, where I, a real doctor, don't look into it, take a look back on some of the films from the past and see if they get a diagnosis of sudden infant death syndrome. No, wait, I'm sorry. Do they get a pass by today's rigorous standards? Sorry, easy enough mistake to make. After all, they rhyme. Today's patient is a movie from 1984, and as we all know, there is no more progressive time in history than the heart of Ronald Reagan's America.
Are you going to tell me you're a fag? If you're going to tell me you're a fag, I don't think I can handle it.
After all, Ronald Reagan wanted to make America great again. Can't imagine where else I've heard that.
I don't remember!
Today's patient is Revenge of the Nerds, which is just like Revenge of the Sith in a way that it's not at all.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil!
What is a nerd, you may ask? Well, it's basically anybody that's not rich, feckless, or psychotic. Oh, nerd! Oh, nerd! Oh, nerd! Oh, nerd! We join our heroes, Lewis and Gilbert, as they arrive at college and are immediately ostracized like lepers on account of the fact that they've never ran a 40, or drank one for that matter, and are way too into that whole book learning.
You a college boy or something?
Bros, do you even lift? Our nerds run afoul of the rich popular folks, the kind of people who are part of country clubs that don't allow 2 to 6 different types of people in. Shenanigans go back and forth until we get a showdown at the carnival for all the marbles. A battle between intellectual savants against avaristic social dilettantes competing in a series of physical and intellectual events in hopes to gain a presidential position in order to accrue all human rights and dignity based on a collegiate title that means absolutely nothing. Tale as old as time. We join our heroes getting revenge on the Pies, a popular female sorority, for sending fat women to their party. Having to talk to women you don't find attractive, some men consider a fate worse than death. As a doctor, as a human being, I can tell you that type of thinking is, in a clinical term, after the indignity of having to socialize with size 10s, our nerds have to suffer even further as the Pies kick it up a notch by sending some future delicious bacon to crash the party. I don't know what they did with the pigs after this evening, but word of advice, don't let this guy anywhere near them.
Yeah, that's one, baby, yeah!
In order to get revenge, the nerds break into the Pies' house where they proceed to terrorize half-naked women and steal their underwear. I feel this is important to note that once again these B&E sex pests are our heroes. Before leaving, our heroes install cameras in the house so they could watch them sleep, bathe, and just basically be in the buff? Wait, that can't be right. These are our heroes. Ugh, I feel so dirty. I need to bathe. So apparently watching women shower is funny for these guys, but creepy for him? Okay, I know they're both creepy, but at least Norman is a job creator.
Well, I can pay you $5 an hour, Duke. You'd work the desk, clean rooms, make beds, empty trash, that sort of thing.
That a boy, Norman. Way to help out this young man in his time of need. Damn it, Norman. Shortly after their sex crimes, we join our nerdy rapscallions as they are dominating the charity part of this contest. Now, I'm a doctor and not a master of literary innuendo, but I'm sure the inclusion of pies has nothing to do with anything sexual. Am I right, Dr. Johnson?
You want to serve The Rock a great big piece of that poontang pie?
Doctor, I'm going to need you to not be so vague and get to the point.
My car caught a fire near this old farmhouse. I hope somebody's home, taking a chance at it. Knocked on the door and this fine chick answered.
You're The Rock!
Can I use your phone?
I'm shaking. Sure, if you try some of this pie I'm baking.
Daisy Duke shorts on 5 foot stood. Said sure, what the heck? I mean, it did smell good.
That's not going to go over very well when he runs for president.
And a Chinese neighbor?
At the Kissy booth, we see Al Bundy's neighbor wearing a mask that I can only describe as the love child between Darth Vader and Dr. Zira from Planet of the Apes.
You underestimate the power of the dark.
All right, but you're so damned ugly.
Hi, Betty.
A nerd.
Betty, as a doctor, I must ask that you use more clinical terms, like sexual predator. Besides, he paid his money, so now whore yourself out like the slave to capitalism you are.
I'm not kissing a nerd.
You have to. I paid my money.
Now I feel icky. Forcing women to do things against their will by our main hero, and he is the hero. They are our heroes. I feel the need to constantly remind you of that. The jocks go to explore why the nerds are making so much money off their pies. If you're wondering why Stan is dressed like Garbage Bag Dracula, well, I don't know. Ochre eats a pie in a manner that I feel will be the catalyst for all of my future nightmares. They realize that Betty is the one on the pie tin, that the nerds undoubtedly received from their illegal sex crime video tap. Now, in order to show you this, I have to do a little bit of editing. Kind of an improvement, if you ask me.
That's my pie.
No! That is not your pie. She is her own person. She is her own pie. Back at the Kissy booth, all these smoochies have left Betty a little frisky in her pantaloons. In fact, she would probably have to change her underwear if she had any left. Stan busts her sexual advances at first, until he returns later in his Darth Coco mask. They enter the atomizer, which I'm assuming is locked unless they're exhibitionists, and they're trying to recreate the world-famous 1969 Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong moon dry hump.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for Moon Poon. Now, come here, Buzz. I want to squeeze your spacewalks.
Such an achievement. Still brings a tear to my eye. For some reason, Stan doesn't want to take off his mask. Can't imagine why. Green Alien likes to watch. Then, post-coital, the mask comes off.
Something you've never done before.
Yeah.
Well, great. Another 80s movie, another playful rape scene. What was it with this generation and their inability to think straight? Yep. That'll do it.
God, you were wonderful.
Well, that didn't take long. She's instantly okay with this. Great. Grand. Super duper.
Are all nerds as good as you?
He may now speak for the billions of people who identify as nerds.
Come.
Come. Oh, sorry. That wasn't very professional of me.
Because all jocks think about is sports. All we ever think about is sex.
I'm sure the jocks also think about sex. In fact, you know who else thinks about sex? Well, perhaps Nurse Grace can help me with this one.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads.
What's your name?
Now, I'm a doctor and not a lawyer, but I would really recommend that he doesn't answer that on the grounds that it could incriminate him. So what is this movie teaching me? That if it's the right dick, anything goes? Who punched up this script, John Hughes?
You know, I have this weird feeling I did.
Okay, look, maybe she had a good night's sleep, came to her senses, realized what happened to her, and called the SVU team.
God, I'm in love with a nerd.
What a delightful journey through misogyny, criminality, sex crimes, and full-blown rape. And that is just from our heroes. So I guess he decided in the 80s if we were going to have female villains, how can we have them get their comeuppance? Well, can't hit them. Not in Reagan's America.
Well, I can change that in a hurry.
I'm sure there's no way that anybody in the 80s in the movie industry would condone this, and I'm sure that we're not going to just cut to a clip right now that is going to go against immediately everything I just said.
You did an interview in which you said, it's not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
Blonde is icky. So I guess they decided that it would be revenge via sex. And by sex, I mean rape. But the worst part of it is, Lewis didn't do it to get revenge on the females. He used a human being as a cum receptacle to get revenge on his male adversary. She was nothing more than a warm hole. I need somebody intelligent to give me a little bit of catharsis on this issue. Somebody like a Pulitzer Prize winner. Like Roger Ebert could more articulately put what the issues are with this film, and vis-a-vis put a finer intellectual bow on this film analysis.
My favorite part was when the nerd got the blonde. I like that. Oh, okay. Next.
Thanks a lot, Biggie. Thumbs down, bitch. This movie gets 0 pass. Everything in this film is backwards and makes me sad that this ever existed, or that in 1984 such a thing could have ever existed. I'm starting to really get a sense of the good old 80s. Thankfully no other decade was like this, like the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Now we're in business.
Well, I'm sure the 2000s were better.
You know when you hear girls saying like, I was so shit-faced last night, I shouldn't have fucked that guy. We could be that mistake.
Oh, I get it. It's not the decade that sucks. It's just people. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, and for the love of God, get consent.